All righty, welcome everyone to the Virtual College Exploration Program in partnership with Cachet. First and foremost, I'd like to get us started with some housekeeping items before I pass it off to the Syracuse team. When you do register for these sessions, you do get a barcode in that confirmation email, but know that that's not necessary for any of the virtual events you partake in with StriveScan. All of the sessions are being recorded and posted to our website shortly after the session concludes. So be sure to check on our website tonight and beyond for any for a way to watch continued sessions in an on-demand setting. And you'll notice that you'll see the SU team, you'll hear them. Unfortunately, they cannot see or hear you all. This is webinar style format. So any questions you have throughout the presentation, feel free to type those into the Q&A box and the team will do their best to address those throughout. So I'll pass it over to Jonathan to get us started. Thanks so much for being here.
All right, thanks so much, Jen. Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan Hoster. I work in the admissions office for the College of Engineering and Computer Science here at Syracuse University. We're so excited that you're spending some time with us and really excited that you're interested in learning more about the exciting opportunities that we offer at Syracuse, particularly in engineering and computer science. We're really excited to be joined by my colleague Kathleen, as well as three of our outstanding students tonight. So I'm going to turn to them now for introductions, and we'll start with Stella.
Hi, my name's Stella. I'm going to be a junior this year at Syracuse. I'm from Southern Illinois and my major is computer science. On campus, I'm involved in AOE, which is the Engineering and Computer Science sorority, and I'm also involved in Innovate Orange, which is a student-run club that puts on a hackathon every year.
Super, and we'll go to Anna.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Holdash. I am from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an upcoming senior at Syracuse University, very excited. My majors are environmental engineering and I'm also in policy studies. On campus, I love to be part of my sorority. I'm in Delta Gamma, which is a social sorority, and I just recently joined SWE, which is the Society for Women Engineers, so very excited to be a part of that this year. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks. Calvin.
Hey everybody, my name is Calvin. I'm a rising sophomore at the College of Engineering and Computer Science. My major is mechanical engineering and I'm part of the Nesby Society. A fun fact is I had a TED Talk on campus, which was pretty great.
All right, thank you. And Kathleen.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Student Recruitment in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. I want to thank all the prospective students who are with us here this evening. We're excited to be with you. And I just want to say a very quick thank you to Stella, Calvin, and Anna for being here. Your energy and enthusiasm is just such a gift to all of us tonight, so thank you. So we are going to start this session with a brief overview about the College of Engineering and Computer Science and our academic programs, as well as some of the really special opportunities we have for our students, both through experiential learning as well as other opportunities. So we'll talk more about that. So to get started, just a couple of quick facts about the college. So Syracuse University is a comprehensive university made up of different schools and colleges. Our college, ECS for short, is made up of about 1,600 undergraduate students across 4 degree departments, and really makes for a close-knit collaborative community of students. It is a diverse community of students, actually, as you can see here tonight or here, both in terms of the geographic connection of students. They come from all across the United States, as well as from many parts of the world to study with us. The racial, ethnic population of students is also diverse. One of my favorite facts about the college is that just under 30% of the student population is female students. So nationally, women make up about 18% of engineering programs, computer science. So we're proud of this, but we are always working to increase that percentage. And I think a fact that makes us all very proud is right in the middle of the screen. You'll see that 92% of our students will report back a full-time job or a grad school outcome within a short amount of time of graduating from one of our programs. And one of my favorite fun fact on this slide is right at the bottom, where just under 25% of the members of the Syracuse University Marching Band are students from the College of Engineering and Computer Science. So if you play an instrument, you want to study engineering, Syracuse is a great place for you. As I mentioned, we have 4 departments. You'll see them listed here. And under each department name, you'll see the degree programs that are part of that department. So we have our Department of Biomedical and Chemical Engineering, Department of Civil and Environmental, Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, which includes computer science, electrical engineering, and computer engineering, and then our Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. And all of these programs are accredited by ABET, A-B-E-T, which is an important validation of an undergraduate degree in engineering or computer science. So that's definitely something to always look for when you're looking at one of these kinds of programs. I want to mention quickly too that when you apply to Syracuse, it's not necessary that you have to know what your major is going to be. You can enter as undecided within the engineering department. So I mentioned at the beginning that Syracuse is a comprehensive university. And when we say that, what we really mean is that there's tremendous academic opportunity for students, not only to major in a technical area like one of our programs, but to take a minor in another area. And there are over 100 different minors. So you can see here on the screen a couple of examples, some of the maybe more common ones that engineering students will pursue. So a minor is a set of 6 courses in a designated area. All of the programs are flexible enough to allow you to pursue a minor, and it's a great way to complement your study with another, by pairing it up with another area. We also have accelerated academic options, so we have them listed here. You can see we have a 4+1 BS-MS option. That's ideal because it really allows students in 5 years to earn both their bachelor degree and a master's degree in an engineering or computer science discipline. One of my favorite things about this is that you do not have to apply for this coming in as a first-year student. For the 4+1 BS-MS, you apply in your junior year. And for the BS-MBA option, that's a fantastic option where, again, in a 5-year period, you would be able to earn your bachelor in engineering or computer science with a master's of business administration from the Whitman School of Management at Syracuse. So again, wonderful opportunities. You do not have to apply into these coming in as a freshman, but by the time the application requirement comes around, you'll have a good idea whether this is something you want to do or not. A lot of opportunities, I said, to get experience. It's very important. College is a great time, not only to study, but also to learn as much as you can. And that comes in many ways, including your activities outside the classroom. This slide is a great example. This is called Invent at SU. So this is a 6-week summer program for students who are interested and excited to become an inventor. So actually, Calvin mentioned he was only a freshman last year, and he was selected among all the students on campus to give a TED Talk. And that kind of innovation and initiative is something that stands out so bright and is maybe a good plateau to something like Invent at SU. So Invent at SU, the students will come up with a design idea, an invention idea, and actually build it out and prototype it. So the young man you see here, Russell Fearon, he just graduated in May with his bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. He invented the device he's holding. It's a wearable device, called a Sugex. So it measures and monitors blood glucose levels. So Russell came up with the idea, he developed it, he developed the prototype, and afterwards he and his partner participated in a competition sponsored by the American Heart Association and won first prize, $50,000 in startup money for their invention. So again, so much opportunity, so much inspiration, and it's a really exciting time to be in one of these programs. A lot of opportunity to be involved, both again on the campus as well as specifically in engineering. So in the College of Engineering and Computer Science, we have over 20 different student clubs and organizations. And these are great ways to get involved in the life of your major, in the life of the college, to interact and work with your peers. I believe Stella just mentioned she was part of the Innovate Orange. So that is a great example of a student club. And you'll see them listed here. So many of these are student chapters of professional engineering societies. So you can see, like, for example, the American Society of Civil Engineers. So these organizations give you a chance to get more involved with your major, with your peers, and to be really, on a pathway for your professional development. So I mentioned also some of the different clubs, and then the affinity organizations, right? So Anna just mentioned she's a member of Society of Women Engineers. I believe Calvin said he's a member of National Society of Black Engineers, and Stella mentioned Alpha Omega Epsilon. So again, great opportunities to be involved in ECS. And this is, I have to say, no matter what time of day or night it is, this slide always makes me smile. This is Otto. He is the school mascot. I think everybody loves Otto. He's easy to love. And we love to talk about him, not because he's lovable, but because he's a great ambassador for the school spirit of Syracuse. So one thing all of us have in common is one way or the other, we went to Syracuse. So, but Otto really represents the school spirit and pride, and also the many ways that students can be involved in the life of the campus. And he's a lot of fun. And as you can see, he's right at home there in our stadium in the Carrier Dome, which is where we play basketball and football and some of the other big sports on campus. So I am going to now turn things over to my colleague and our quarterback of this whole endeavor, Jonathan.
All right, Kathleen, thanks so much. Hello again, everyone. I'm going to do the second half of our presentation here, and then we're going to be excited to hear your questions. So these photos show a really exciting new addition to our campus. It's called the Barnes Center at the Arch. This was added just about a year ago. It opened last school year. And this is our Health and Wellness Center, and it includes our health center, our counseling center, and our fitness center. We're one of the first universities to have all those things under one roof. So in addition to a really amazing weight room, strength training equipment, cardio center, group exercise facilities, basketball courts, indoor track. These are some additional things that you'll find in the Barnes Center. A state-of-the-art esports center, you can see in the upper left, a really amazing aquatics area, a 48-foot climbing wall, and our pet therapy room, I think, is my favorite part of the Barnes Center, where you can hang out with dogs, which I think is really cool. Study abroad is one of our favorite recommendations. We really encourage students to seriously think about this as part of their college experience. It fits so seamlessly into the life of a college student, and we have excellent opportunities at Syracuse for all majors, including our engineering and computer science students. This map is meant to give you a sampling of where are some of the locations that work very well for computer science and engineering students to study abroad. One of the most important things I can tell you about this is that we make sure that students take their courses, their engineering, their computer science courses, when they go abroad, so they make the same progress towards their degree requirements as if they were on campus. And I think that's a really important thing to know about this. Research is also an excellent opportunity. Syracuse University is known as a Research 1 or an R1 university. That means we're at the top classification in regard to research, and there are amazing opportunities and excellent things that our undergraduates are doing in regard to research. We have an undergrad research center on campus that's called The Source, which is the hub for undergrad research in terms of connecting our students with research funding as well as research opportunities. These are some of our students in various research settings on campus, and a lot of them get really involved in this and in their research and end up presenting their research at conferences all across the country. Some of them end up co-authoring journal articles with professors, and sometimes this leads students into graduate school because they decide that they really love doing research. Another thing that's very, very important to us is supporting our students' success. And there are so many things we do very intentionally to support our students' success. One of those things that I want to highlight is the fact that as a computer science or engineering major at Syracuse, you would have 3 advisors right from the beginning who would follow you through your 4-year career: your success advisor, your faculty advisor, and your career advisor. Another thing to highlight from this list is the engineering and computer science living learning community. This is a great thing to do as a freshman. If you're living in that engineering and computer science living learning community, which is one of several STEM communities that we offer in housing, that means you're living with 150, maybe 180 other engineering and computer science freshmen. This means you're taking a lot of the same classes, which makes it really easy to study for tests together and do homework together. Everybody who does that really likes it, and I think it's a great way to get off to help you get off to a good start academically as a freshman. So a little more about career services. This is something that's really important to us. Our students are doing internships and co-ops across the country during the summer and sometimes during the school year. They are matched up, as I said before, with a career advisor right from the first day who will help them navigate that process of applying for internships, co-ops, and jobs, making connections for networking and mentoring with alumni as well as other employers, working with them on their resume and cover letters, helping them prepare for career fairs as well as other opportunities that they will be meeting with employers. So the career advisors are so important part of this process for our students. Really great example here is this picture. This is Kayla on the right. She graduated from aerospace engineering at Syracuse last year. This is a picture of her company. The name of her company is called Virgin Orbit. It's part of the Virgin Group, which is a collection of about 40, I think, different companies. And the CEO of the Virgin Group is Richard Branson, who's pretty famous. You may recognize him. He's the guy in the middle with the cowboy hat. He came by one day and Kayla and her team got to show him around this facility, which was a neat experience for them. So again, the name of her company is Virgin Orbit. What happened for Kayla happens for a lot of our students, that as an intern at this company, she really impressed them with her skill set and her work ethic, and that experience turned into a full-time job. So as I said, she graduated last year from Syracuse with her bachelor's in aerospace engineering, and she is quite literally a rocket scientist because her job is she works as a propulsion test engineer at Virgin Orbit. And this location where this picture was taken is actually in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. This slide is a great example of a number of places where our recent graduates are working. So we're really proud of the things our students are doing while they're on campus, and really proud of the things our graduates are doing. And from across the 9 disciplines in engineering and computer science that we graduate students from for bachelor's degrees, this is a great example of a number of the companies where they're working. A lot of these same companies are the ones who come to campus to recruit our students, and otherwise recruit our students by connecting with career advisors who share opportunities for co-ops and internships and jobs with our students. So I would say it's about 75% of our graduates get their bachelor's degree and then go directly into industry at these companies as well as many others. And then about 25% of our graduates earn their bachelor's degree and then they go into graduate school at these universities you see here, including Syracuse. For some of them, that means a master's degree. Some of them, that means a PhD, law school, medical school, dental school. Once you have a bachelor's in engineering or computer science, it leads you to lots of great opportunities in industry and lots of great opportunities in graduate school if you want to go that route. So the last point of our slides before we get to your questions will be about admissions and financial aid and scholarships. So when we're reviewing applications for students who are interested in engineering and computer science, we spend a lot of time looking at their science and math background. So we would expect by the time you graduate high school that you will have 4 years of math. That has to include pre-calculus. And then if you have an opportunity to take calculus in high school as well, we would certainly recommend that you do that also. But calculus is not an absolute requirement to be a strong candidate for admission. In terms of science, we would expect that you have 4 years of science in high school. That should include chemistry and physics as some of the most important ones. Now, if your school perhaps doesn't offer some of these things I mentioned, we'll make sure you have my email address and Kathleen's as well. Definitely reach out to us and we can talk about that. We try to be as flexible as possible so we don't disadvantage a student who didn't have a particular opportunity at their specific school. I can tell you that the average GPA for students who are admitted to our engineering and computer science school is about 3.7. And if you're used to a 100-point scale, that's about a 91%. You may know that Syracuse University, like many other universities across the country, has gone test optional for students who are applying for the 2021 year. And because we know it's been very difficult, if not impossible, for students in that cohort to have access to the SAT or the ACT. So it is definitely optional. So if you haven't taken the test or you have and you don't want to send your scores, that's totally your option. There's no disadvantage in the process if you're applying for 2021 admission if you don't send test scores. So no disadvantage in regard to admission consideration and no disadvantage in regard to consideration for merit scholarships. My last point on this slide would be about teacher recommendations. We require 2 teacher recommendations, and we would really like at least one of those to be from a math or science teacher, or perhaps an engineering or computer science teacher if you have those classes at your high school. So 2 recommendations from teachers, at least one from a STEM teacher, or both could be from STEM teachers. And it needs to be teachers that know you really well. I think that's an important thing to consider. So point about scholarships, this is not a complete list of scholarships. This is just a couple examples. Leadership and ambassador scholarships tend to be 2 of the highest scholarships we offer. We also have really great partnerships with FIRST and with Project Lead the Way. So if you're on a FIRST team or you're taking Project Lead the Way courses in high school, there's a form on the admissions section of our engineering website for both of those that you would fill out. It's not an application, it's just a form for your basic information and just to tell us that you're involved in that organization, so you can be considered for those scholarships. But I have to say that's the exception. There's no caveat like that for the large majority of the scholarships that we offer. No separate application for scholarships. Students will be considered for scholarships based on everything in their admission application. Before we get into your questions, I want to make sure you have my information and Kathleen's, so you can reach us after today with anything that may come up or you don't think about tonight. So I would encourage you to take a screenshot or a picture of this slide so that you have that. And I'm going to remove the slides here in just about 20 seconds so we can see what questions you have. I think a great way to get to know the programs and opportunities here too is definitely to follow us on social media and see some of the cool things that our students, our alumni, and our professors are involved in. Okay, so at this point, we're really excited to hear what questions you have on your mind. So you should see that there's a Q&A button probably at the bottom of your screen. We invite you to send us your questions there. If you don't have a particular question and you just want to say hello, tell us where you go to school, where you're from, maybe what majors or clubs you're interested in, we'd love to hear that as well. So without further ado, we have a question from Anna who says, does environmental engineering have a lot of crossover with civil engineering in both working with students from both disciplines and some of the same curriculum? So Anna, coincidentally enough, we have another Anna on our panel who is an environmental engineer. So I'm going to send that question to her since she's been experiencing it.
Hi, other Anna. That's so exciting. That's a great question. So the environmental and civil department is together. So a lot of our courses go hand in hand with a lot of the civils. So our specific classes such as environmental chemistry, environmental microbiology, are classes that our civil side doesn't really have to take for theirs. So our basics like statics, dynamics, anything like that, we usually take those together, and it's a little bit of a larger class, so we get to know them really well too. But they're not all together. Civils have some classes without us, and we have some classes without them. So there's definitely an overlap, but you get your specification and your classes on your own with your environmental students as well.
Thanks, Anna. I think a good point here too, to reiterate something Kathleen mentioned earlier, is that we don't lock anybody into a particular major when they start out. So once you're in the engineering and computer science college, you can choose any of the majors, and they're all great options. You can't make a bad choice. So I think that's a good thing to know as well. Okay. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. We have a question from Orion. Who says, can we take more than one program at once? So if you mean more than one kind of engineering, typically not. It doesn't really logistically work to do 2 different kinds of engineering, but you can definitely have a second major, and we have a number of students who will do a minor in another field, and also students that will do a major in another field. Do you want to speak about that, Anna, from your perspective, and how you've made those things, logistically fit into your schedule?
Absolutely. So if that's something that you want to do, if you want to add on a minor or another major, something that you really need to do is contact your advisors. So like Jonathan said, you have a ton of advisors and all kinds of people who are willing to help you and make your dreams for what you want to come true. So really, I knew that I wanted to be involved in policy as well. So I reached out to my advisor my first year and said, this is something that I'd really like to do. How can we make this happen? And so there was a lot of overlap because you have to have some social science humanities courses. So I was able to overlap those course requirements with courses that I was going to be taking for my other major. So it actually works out perfectly. I was able to go abroad and graduate on time with 2 majors. So it's definitely doable. You just have to be clear and talk to the people, and if they don't know how to make it happen, they'll find somebody else who will. That's a great part about Syracuse.
Super, thanks, Anna. We have a question from Nathaniel who says, do you offer material engineering? So Nathaniel, we don't have a specific bachelor's degree in material engineering, but there's a lot of materials work that we do in a number of the majors. Chemical engineering, biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering come quickly to mind. There's a lot of research we do in those areas in regard to composites, in regard to biomaterials. So there's definitely a lot of experience you can get in materials here. And like I said, you don't have to pick a specific bachelor's degree program right away. Once you're in the engineering school, you can navigate talking to students, talking to professors to figure out which one might be the best for you. If you want to tell us more about what you're interested in, Nathaniel, we might be able to help you sort of narrow down, which majors you might want to think about. Okay, Kathleen, I think I'll send this next question over to you. We have a question from Liberty who says, how would you describe your biomedical engineering program, class types, what makes it different, etc.?
Sure, Jonathan. Liberty, thank you for that great question. So the bioengineering at Syracuse is actually a biomedical program. What that means is it's engineering that's applied to human systems, so human performance, the biomechanics, biomaterials, bioinstrumentation. But it's called bioengineering. The program actually, so it's one of the oldest bioengineering programs in the United States. It also has a master's program and a PhD program. And there's a lot of things that make it a special program and really make it stand out. So I think one of the things is the really close attention the faculty give to the students. And it's a very distinguished faculty. They're some of the leading researchers in the field of, for example, biomaterials. And yet they teach all the undergraduate classes, they advise undergraduates, so there's a really close collegial atmosphere in that program. Another thing that sets that program apart is the number of undergraduate research opportunities. So the bioengineering department is one of the more active research departments on campus, actually, and as a result, it really allows and fosters a great number of opportunities. And the bioengineering students, a lot of them go on to do great things. We have had bioengineers go on to medical school. We have had bioengineers go on to get PhDs from some of the top doctoral programs in the world. And as well, of course, going into industry. So it's a really, really very strong program, yet close-knit and very personable.
Super, thanks, Kathleen. I think we're going to ask Stella to speak to the next question here, which is related to your field, Stella. So Kevin has asked, my high school doesn't offer computer engineering courses, but I taught myself some basic computer engineering. Would that affect my chance of getting accepted? So Kevin, I'm assuming maybe, I don't know if you're speaking about programming languages, for instance, but I would say the main things we're looking for is strong performance in math and science. And then if you have done courses in school or you've self-taught things like programming and computer languages, like that would be awesome. So I think that would definitely be a benefit if you talk about that in your application. But Stella, maybe you could speak about what programming looks like in terms of languages the students are learning in computer science, computer engineering, and maybe your advice on preparing for that curriculum.
Yeah, so my high school didn't actually offer any computer science or computer engineering courses either. So when I applied, I literally had like zero tech background. I just knew that that's what I wanted to get into. And obviously I still got in. So I definitely think it's possible. And I was intimidated at first. I thought that I was going to be behind a lot of my classmates because most of them had done computer engineering, computer science, but like 2 years now in, and I don't feel at all behind because originally we all take ECS 102, which is an intro to coding class. And you learn like the basic skills of Python and just like really basic coding techniques. And then following that, you take another intro to computer science course, which is taught in Haskell, which is a less known language, but it's still really important for building a good foundation of like coding technique. So I definitely think like coming into the Syracuse computer science major or computer engineering without any experience is not going to be a hindrance to you if you're willing to like put in work and learn.
Stella, while you have the microphone, could you tell us more about CUSE Hacks and the Hackathon and things we could look forward to about that?
Yeah, so CUSACs, we just had our third event this past spring. It's a totally student-run hackathon. It's really awesome. It's 24 hours straight, and you can come as a team or you can come as an individual, and we have different categories where you can build any sort of program related to the category, related to whatever you want. Like we have sustainability categories, diversity and inclusion categories, hardware hacks, like all kinds of things. And we also had companies like IBM and Google come and sponsor their own categories. So you just kind of get to make whatever kind of project you want. You have 24 hours to work on it. And at the end, you do a little demo for us. And we have a lot of faculty and staff from Syracuse judge, and it's a really awesome event. And even just being able to organize this year was something that like really connected me with my major and helped me kind of like feel like I'm really like a computer science major. So that was really cool. I highly recommend either participating, or if you're interested in organizing, definitely like shoot me an email. We also have a website, innovateorange.github.io. It's a really awesome experience. I think this year, because of everything going on, we're planning to have a virtual event instead of an in-person event, because we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do an in-person hackathon, because last year we had upwards of like 150 people. So I think for this upcoming spring 2021, we're planning a virtual hackathon, which should be interesting.
Super, thank you. Calvin, I'd like to turn to you to ask you for some advice. I know you just finished your freshman year very successfully and are heading into your sophomore year. You know, for students that are joining us tonight who are starting college probably about a year from now, what advice would you give them in terms of, you know, making that transition from high school to college and having a successful freshman year, whether it be academically, socially, getting involved, et cetera?
Thank you, Jonathan. For my freshman year, it went pretty great. One advice I'll give to upcoming, well, not upcoming freshmen, I'll say that be always prepared for the unexpected. One thing you always want to do is make sure that you're ready and prepared. Classes from high school and college is completely different. For me, for example, in high school, I didn't require that much studying for exams and other courses. However, shifting to college, it takes a bunch of studying in which you have to do. So I'll say that's one thing you need to be prepared for: studying. You need to develop a studying habit, and also do not be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is one of the most important things as a engineering student. So make sure you go to office hours once you get to college. Make sure you ask your professors for help, because you don't know everything. You're a student. You're here to learn, and you're here to help you out.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question from Anna, which says, are there any supplemental essays or questions when applying to the School of Engineering? That's a great point, Anna. So there is, for anybody applying to Syracuse, there's one additional question. So we use the common application, which I think I forgot to note earlier, so I'm glad you mentioned the application process. So we use the common application, which you may know lots of colleges across the country use that application. And when you add Syracuse to your common application, you do have to specify what part of Syracuse you're applying to. And I imagine many of you will choose the College of Engineering and Computer Science. And then there's just one additional question for Syracuse, regardless of what major. So that you put on the application. And there's actually two parts to the question. So make sure you answer both parts of it. And I would say probably 8 or 10 sentences would be necessary to answer both parts of that question. It's an easy question. So what we'd like to really hear from you in terms of what do you want to study, why do you want to study it, why are you interested in Syracuse, what can you bring to campus? So things we're really interested in knowing when we review applications. So definitely take that seriously. Okay, Orion has asked, do AP courses have a strong impact on your decisions? So certainly we'd like to see that students have challenged themselves with their course selection to the extent that your high school allows. So if your high school offers APs, honors, IB, dual enrollment, those kind of opportunities, definitely do that to the extent you can be successful. I was talking to a student earlier today who was thinking about taking 5 APs as a senior. That sounds like too much to me. Because you want to be able to balance things too, especially when you're engaged in the college application process, which is going to require a lot of your time. So, but I think play to your strengths. So, this is a STEM program that you're tuning into. I'm assuming your strengths are probably in math and science. So maybe you take the harder courses and the APs in those areas, and maybe take regular level courses in some other areas. So, in terms of getting credit, 4s and 5s are typically what will result in credit on APs. So that could be something like calculus. If you take AP Calculus, A, B, or B, C, that could give you credit for Calc 1 and or Calc 2. And then you could just be in the next level of Calc when you start out. But also things like AP English. If you take AP English or AP US History, AP World History, those would count towards social science and humanities courses that you need to take. Andrea has said, how is the diversity in students at Syracuse? So Andrea, in terms of racial and ethnic background, about 28% of our students are identify as Latinx, African American, Native American, and Asian American as well. So it's between 28 and 30% of our students across the Syracuse student body. Within the College of Engineering and Computer Science, there are some really great affinity groups to support the success of students of color, and those include the National Society of Black Engineers, which Calvin mentioned earlier, as well as the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers, and the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. These are all chapters that we have on campus of national organizations. So you could actually look up any of those organizations now, and actually I'd encourage you to do that, to learn more about those and follow them on social media to get to know more about them. Okay, Xavier has asked, what's the average SAT score for incoming freshmen? And Adam asked about our SAT and ACT scores required for merit scholarships. So we'll kind of take those together. So if you choose to send SAT or ACT scores, or I guess what I could tell you is, this is our first year being test optional for 2021. So previously they've been required. So traditionally, the average ACT score for admitted students for the engineering college is about 28. And for the SAT, the average is traditionally about 1310. And so you can consider that as to decide whether you want to send your scores. But to Adam's question, are SAT or ACT scores required for merit scholarships? They are not. So it truly is your option. I think test scores are such a part of the culture in college admissions across the country that even when we say it's optional, we really mean that. But I do understand the question, Adam, because some schools are requiring them for scholarships, but we are not. So if you do not submit or cannot submit SAT or ACT scores, there's no disadvantage in regard to consideration for admission or consideration for merit scholarships. Okay, I'm seeing what other questions we have here. Anastasia asked, are there any accelerated majors or joint majors at Syracuse? So Kathleen, would you mind speaking to that in terms of those options?
Yes, I sure would. So thank you for that question. We do have, within the College of Engineering and Computer Science, we have two accelerated options. One is the BS-MS option, which allows a student to earn their bachelor degree in any one of the engineering or computer science disciplines, and then add an additional year, so +1, to earn their master's degree. The thing about that program that we like very much is that students don't have to declare that coming in. You would apply for that in your third year. So by that time, I think students have a better idea of, their plans, what their short-term, long-term plans look like. We do a lot to facilitate that. It is an application into the graduate program, but we waive the GRE, we waive the application fee. We really facilitate that to make it a very smooth process for our students. We also have the accelerated BS MBA option, which combines an engineering or computer science degree with a Master's of Business Administration from the Whitman Business School at Syracuse. The nice thing about Syracuse too is that there really are, you get a great deal of support and attention. And I liked what Anna said, that if you talk to your advisor, they can really help you achieve almost anything you set your mind to. And again, Syracuse, as I said at the beginning, is a comprehensive university. So we have a law school. We have the top-ranked public administration school in the United States. So even though we don't have formal arrangements with those programs, if an engineering student wants to, be put on a pathway for, we'll say, patent law, it's very doable, and you have the support that makes that possible. Thank you. That was a great question.
Super. So I don't see any other questions at the moment, and we do have a couple more minutes. If anybody does have additional questions, definitely encourage you to send them to us now. Use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And while we're waiting to see if any other questions come in, I wanted to ask our panelists if you have some other advice that you'd like to share. And actually, here's a good point that Nathaniel has just sent to us, which says, what makes Syracuse's engineering school different from other schools? So, maybe as a way to answer that, maybe each of you could talk about, how you picked Syracuse when you were deciding, in regard to your college search. Calvin, you
I
want to
could
start
go
with that?
first. Yes. So one reason why I picked Syracuse is the first reason is based on the community around the whole entire university. When I came in, I wasn't really comfortable during the first week. However, the school made you feel comfortable. They made you feel like you're a student and you belong there. One thing that made the School of Engineering different from other schools is the partnerships with various programs, such as the Blackstone Launchpad. Currently, I'm involved with the Blackstone Launchpad as a student that's interested in STEM and also business. So I get to combine both my interests in business and engineering together to possibly create a business for the future. That's one thing that make Syracuse different from other universities, because this opportunity isn't given in other universities, but the Blackstone Launchpad is primarily for Syracuse and for Syracuse University students.
Cool. Thank you.
I'll go next if that's all right.
Please.
So I originally, when I was looking at schools, didn't look at Syracuse at all. I'm from the Midwest, so I was looking at places near me and just kind of did a search for top engineering schools that were in my range and just kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be a small area where teachers knew me. I wanted to be able to study abroad. I wanted to explore all of the things that I wanted to in college and still get a great education in engineering. So I really found that at Syracuse, and I knew from the moment I stepped on campus that this is where I wanted to be. And it kind of goes with student life too. I saw people that I could see myself being with. And obviously it's a little weird right now because you can't visit campus, but the student life and the people, you just see everyone walking around campus, and every now and then Otto will walk around campus and people. It looks like a big school, but I swear you'll see a ton of people that you know all the time. And that just becomes even smaller in the College of Engineering. I know all of my teachers by name. They know me. They know what I want to do, what I'm passionate about, which really made the big difference for me. I wanted teachers that were invested in my future, who really wanted me to succeed instead of just being a face in the crowd. So that's something that I really found in Syracuse, and I am continually impressed with. And it's the reason my younger brother is also a member of the Syracuse Engineering School. He's a mechanical engineer right now. So
you just had a special guest there join you, Anna.
This is the newest member. This is Emmy. She's my newest kitten. She's going to be joining me on campus, so look out for that.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing her.
Yeah.
Thanks. Stella, did you want to jump in before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree with Anna. I think the unique thing about Syracuse is that you get the big school feel. Like, you get to go to the games and stuff, obviously not right now, but like you get to be on a very large campus, but within the School of Engineering, it's a very personal school. Like, I didn't expect that going to Syracuse, but I love that. Like, I see people in Link, which is the engineering building, that like I know like all the time. Like, you can't walk in there without knowing like everyone. It's really awesome. And also I think another thing that I love about Syracuse and the Department of Computer Science and Engineering is that like I've never been told no, like by a faculty or like staff member. If I want to do something, if I'm like really passionate about something, like they are like, yes, how can we make this happen? Or like if I want to apply for an internship or like a research position, like people are like, okay, let's do it. And like even just going back to like CUSACs and Innovate Orange, like it's a completely like student run organization, but we have like faculty advisors, and these faculty advisors are like, they always just want to do the most to help us succeed and help us like reach our goals, which is like probably my favorite thing about the Department of Computer Science and Engineering.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I think we are going to turn it over to Kathleen for some final thoughts before Jen wraps it up.
Thank you, Jonathan, and really thank you, Stella, Anna, and Calvin for just being here, for your support, and just your enthusiasm. You make us so proud. I want to thank again the prospective students who joined us tonight. We're so impressed by you, your questions, your curiosity, and the commitment that you're already showing to a future in engineering is really inspiring. So we really encourage you to keep it up. The world, I don't think there's ever been a time in the world where we've seen such a bigger need for ingenuity, for engineering talent and passion. So we really wish you all the best. We hope you'll all think about Syracuse. Keep it in your thoughts as you think about college. And we really, as I said, Jonathan and I are here to help you anytime. And I'm sure Stella, Anna, and Calvin would love to, if you guys have questions after this, let us know, and we'll be happy to, ask for their input as well. So we want to also thank StriveScan for hosting us tonight. This was a great program as usual, and we really are very excited and happy. So thank you all.
No, thank you for spending your late evening with us and sharing all this valuable information. Students, counselors who are still online, as you exit the webinar, you will be taken to a quick survey. It's only 4 questions, so we'd love to hear your feedback. But no, we'll be sure to provide the Syracuse team your information so the conversation definitely doesn't have to stop here. And like I said at the beginning, the recordings will be available on our website in this evening, so you can continue to look back at those sessions to re-review or watch ones that you may have missed. So thank you once again to the Syracuse team, and I hope everyone has a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and stay happy and healthy out there.
That's right.
Thank you.
You too. Go Orange.
Go Orange. Go Orange.